undefeated all-winner for this.
It's the biggest race we have all year long.
The icons of this sport have all starred on its biggest stage.
It's the great American race. Trust me.
I won the Daytona 500. I won the Daytona 500.
Pull them belts tight one last time, boys. Light the fire.
Big push coming now for Harvick. Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Priest upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
You got plenty of money. Don't need that to keep racing. Is it worth the risk to keep on going?
Sure, to win.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Mike Z.Y. Joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a great Monday. Hope you guys had yourselves a Tyler Reddick type of Monday. He was the big winner.
That's right.
The real driver of 45. There's been 4 drivers of the 45, and the car is only 4 years old. Anyways, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. You know the deal. We're coming to you live on a Tuesday night after a great weekend in Michigan, a rainy, wet weekend in Michigan. But how was your weekend here in the great Wyoming Valley of Pennsylvania, guys? I saw Statman Matt on Friday at a baseball game. Eric, I didn't see you this weekend, but what were you guys up to?
Oh, T-Fest.
Oh, yeah, Tomato Festival.
Yeah, Tomato Fest. So went to the old beer tent Friday night, got a little tuned up at the old beer tent there. You know, you can't beat that. You're in a 5x8 fire hall. It's 85% humidity outside.
Oh, yeah.
Shoulder to shoulder, sweating like a bunch of greased up pigs. And you know what? I wouldn't want it any other way, because that to me is your summer. It's the peak. That's Tomato Fest. You know, everyone just giving it their all, drinking their hearts out. The end of summer, and you know that's what it's about. It's like a celebration. You're kind of closing it off for me, at least, is the Tomato Fest. It's kind of like one of the last things you do in the summer.
It's like that Labor Day, and then you're right into the fall. You know. Festa Italiana in Scranton too. I don't know if you guys go up there, but
we go up. We go up on Labor Day.
That's where I get my little last taste of Italian food at the festivals and stuff. But yeah, it looked like a good time at T-Fest. I just stopped for dinner every night. I didn't make it on Friday either. I was a little disappointed about that. But I saw you guys having a real good time. Luke Birdie, man, going insane at T-Fest this year. I saw him singing with Richie Rockstreet on the drum kit and all that stuff. Jay was seemed to be having a good time too. So looked like a good time on your guys' end, right? And then,
oh yeah, T-Fest is always a blast, man.
Oh yeah, but just like Michigan, it rained here too. Kind of unfortunate. We headed over Sunday night and half the vendors were gone already. But I still got that chicken scampi sandwich and a sausage and pepper sandwich. One last one to end out the year. How about you, Matt? How was your weekend? So we shared a beer at the baseball game, and then kind of quiet after that. So
yeah. So I got to see White Man. When we go to the baseball games, it's a double-A affiliate here, the Yankees, in our neck of the woods. So we go to a handful of games, and they're a pretty big deal around here. And so the first thing we do when we go to these games is we scout out what food we want to get, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's pretty good concessions there. So I'm walking around the mezzanine, just grab my nachos, and
it's a big baseball helmet.
Now the fans of the Bump and Run podcast, Eric included, you are gonna find this fucking hilarious. The game has already started, and here I'm walking past the main entrance, and I see the flowing, beautiful blonde hair of one Michael D. White walking in late to the game.
Can I tell you,
I yell, Whitey!
I forgot about that part. We were standing in the parking lot during the national anthem, waiting to get our tickets checked. We had to stop for the anthem. So, yeah, I can't make it to a race before the anthem. I can't make it to a baseball game before the anthem. But I got my picture taken with the Statman Matt from the Bumper On podcast. I was so excited to see him. If you're watching on the YouTube, you can see.
Take a look at that picture, because that's the last time that Statman Matt felt any type of normal the rest of the weekend. So Whitey and I and his brother Ed and beautiful girlfriend Bree, we all shared a beer together. Ed, it was great seeing you. I know you listened to the show, so great seeing you again, buddy. But standing there having a beer, bullshitting, having a good time. separated, parted ways, and about 45 minutes later, Eric, it just hit me. The stomach just turned, and some poor bathroom stall down the third base line really took a beating. And really, it lasted with me the rest of the weekend. So that beer that I had with Whitey was the only beer I had this past weekend. But I told you guys this. I think it was the universe just telling me, hey, buddy, slow down one last weekend because we're heading into a Daytona night race.
Oh, yeah.
And college football season. And so there's not going to be another sober weekend the rest of the year for me. So I think it was Mother Nature just saying, hey, one last weekend to just give the liver a break for a minute and just slowing it down. So after the game, Whitey, it was really more of a quiet weekend around the house for us.
Now, it could have been the universe telling you to pump the brakes, or it could have been the giant baseball helmet full of chicken nachos with salsa and hot peppers all on top of that done it.
That'll do it.
Some of the best nachos I've ever had. No, it wasn't that.
They
I was starting
good.
to feel something the second half of the work day on Friday afternoon. So something was already churning earlier in the day. It wasn't. Don't you blame those nachos?
You want to know what? Maybe it was the universe because the beer we got, I go, oh, they got free beer hugs. That's a 7.0er. And that's exactly what you went with on the heavy IPAs. So maybe that's what it was. But
were the nachos in the actual helmet? Like, was it an actual helmet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got like key souvenir helmet nachos? Love that.
Yeah.
But what you would call it? Yeah, it was great seeing you. I didn't do much after that. What was it? Saturday, game night, Sunday. Just waiting to watch a race, and then it got rain delayed till Monday. So yeah, kind of pretty quiet after that Friday for me as well. Headed up to Dave and Buster's after the baseball game. Had a couple beers there too.
How is that? I've gone to a few Dave and Buster's in my life, but never that one. Not the new one in town.
It looks pretty cool. I didn't play any games because we got there pretty late. I didn't want to get a power card. But same like ticket games and stuff. A couple cool racing, sit down racing games that I saw. Fast and Furious, shit like that. So
crowd?
Yeah, oh yeah, good crowd. Even then when I walked in, it was pretty packed. And then I went there actually on Tuesday. That's why we did the show last Monday. I had a baseball game on Tuesday. It was the 10-year employee appreciation game. And me and my supervisor, because we don't want to make small talk too early, we wanted to show up to the game late. We went to Dave & Buster's and pre-gamed a couple beers there, and it was ass packed on a Tuesday night. So,
that's good to hear.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
Yeah, they're doing real well up there. But yeah, for me, the rest of the weekend pretty quiet, and enjoyed T-Fest food and a great NASCAR weekend that was a little rain delayed. But do you guys want to jump into the NASCAR news? We got not a whole lot to talk about, but a couple interesting stories. The first one, a pretty light one. You guys know the shoes. Hey, dude. I know our buddy Robbie Stray wears them all the time. They're like super comfortable shoes.
I have a couple pair too. I love the Hey Dudes.
Do you? I like them too. I want to get a pair. I like the way they look and everything. I tell you what though, I don't like the way these look. Hey, dude is jumping into the new licensing collaboration with NASCAR Team Properties. I don't know if you saw these, but they're yeah.
So Eric, go ahead because I have a comment too.
I'm not a fan of Hey Dudes in general. I think Hey Dudes are for people that have too big of an ego to wear Crocs. Same thing. It's a shitty, ugly fucking shoe.
I think they're owned by Crocs, aren't they?
You know what I mean? Like that's just my opinion.
Eric,
so
can I just defend myself for a second? Because I am a Hey Dudes wearer. You are 100% right. You are 100% right. Yeah. I am not a Croc guy, but I'll wear the Hey Dudes, and you're right. It's a slip-on. You slide it on. Same freaking
It's the same thing, except it's for people that don't want to be seen wearing a Croc.
Yeah, that's why I want them.
And I fall under that category for whatever reason. So I heard that the NASCAR was collaborating with the Hey Dudes, and me being a Hey Dude guy, I was like super excited. Like, oh, let's see what these are. And they came out and it was like, oh my God, like you can't, there's one place that you can wear them and it's at a race. And
even then it's like too much. And
it's a little much. You may as well go get a fire suit and wear that as well.
For real, like one of those hoodie, sweatpants combos. Like that's what they're like. They're so fucking busy. Like there's a lot going on with these.
Yeah.
I would get them if they were just like the regular gray colors with your driver's number on the side or something like that. You know, put it on the back. But these things,
you got to keep it simple at that point.
That's what I thought it was going to be, like a hint of NASCAR thrown into like a regular, maybe black or white or gray Hey Dude, but no, it's full blown. If the listeners, if you haven't seen them yet, just Google NASCAR Hey Dude shoes and put some sunglasses on because they're something.
And you want to what? If you like them and you want them, to each your own provolone. I hope you like them. I saw that sun drop one. I was like, oh, Dale Jr. sun drop car. It's like completely green. I'm like, I don't know about that. And then whatchamacallit, big news for Eric, his driver Eric Jones signing a multi-year contract extension with Legacy Motor Club. I don't know if you're excited or not over that one.
No, I am. I think, I mean, at this point, we've seen what's going on with silly season, and we kind of know where people are going to fall into place next year. And he was already signed to begin with, so his name floated around for a few of them, which I knew it wasn't going to be a possibility. It's just, hey, he's the talent that's there in an underperforming team that people would say, hey, could possibly go to that ride. So there's nowhere else for him to go. This is eventually going to be a top Toyota team, I'm hoping. Year one, not where they want to be, but hey, it's year one. I got to, learn from their mistakes, get rid of that 84 car, put more into, and I think Jimmy's coming around to that. I think he's seeing a little bit how much actually goes into what a team owner and what goes into being fast every week. And I don't know. I think it's the best move for him right now, because what else would there be? You know, so I'd rather see him with the Toyota team that is on the upcoming starter. Like, this is, I mean, I'm starting all over again. I'm tired of starting all over again, but like, this to me has more upside than when he started with the GMS Petty deal, where, okay, let's try to grow that team. I think we're starting over in that same scenario. I'm putting myself in the same shoes. Okay, starting over again. But I think the ceiling is a lot higher here with Toyota and this team than it was back then. So I can't really complain about anything.
Yeah, I agree, because like there's no better ride right now that's open, and we'll see. It does seem like they're making changes here and there, trying to improve what they can.
Well. I mean, the races that he's supposed to do well, he outperforms the equipment because he does well at those racetracks, and he's outperformed the equipment most weekends. You see him, he qualifies in the back every single fucking week, races up into the top 20, and then finishes 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there. Sometimes he'll race his way up, and then because of pit selection, goes back. There is signs of speed there. I just think they need to dial it in more, because they're not getting that help from the other Toyota camps, which maybe they work a deal out next year to change that. Now that Jimmy sees like, hey, like, I want to do it on my own. I think there's a little ego there too with Jimmy, but I think maybe he's going to make a couple phone calls over there to Denny and the boys, and maybe at least hook up with them rather than Joe Gibbs. I'd like to see him work with some other data from the Toyota teams.
Yeah, it's hard to go it alone. Every team has a technical alliance with somebody. So to be on your own with a new manufacturer, like
Rick Hendrick and the Devil,
right? Yeah. But Matt, you have any thoughts on Eric Jones re-signing?
Same with Eric. It'll be interesting to see. There wasn't really many options out there. You did hear his name float around, and I think you will in the future as well, just because of the mega talent that everyone knows Eric Jones is. He outperforms his car on a weekly basis. We've talked about it several times. So, extend the contract for, what is it, just a year?
It was multi-year.
Years, yeah.
Okay, so probably 2 years with an option of a third. So extend it 2 seasons. See where Legacy's at the end of 2 seasons. Eric Jones is still surprisingly young for as long as it seems like
27.
Yeah, which is like the prime of a NASCAR. He's entering the prime of his career in the
like,
NASCAR.
Like, I know he's my driver and everything, but like every time like I'll read the comments on random like Twitter, someone will be like, "Oh, who's like the most underrated driver in NASCAR right now?" And it's like, dude, Eric Jones's name gets thrown out there all the time. Oh, who's probably the best driver in the worst equipment right now? It's like everybody knows that he's kind of gotten I keep putting it in NFL terms. He got drafted to a team that didn't know how to utilize him. And, now when he goes to another team, it's like the same thing happened to him again there. Okay, now they draft someone ahead of him. And it's like, oh, man, when is he going to be able to shine? He just keeps getting put in situations where he's never able to succeed to his fullest potential. And, I know some guys find that landing spot and then they thrive late in their careers. And he's not even late in that career yet. But, I look at Martin Truex Jr. in a way, like his career. It wasn't the greatest. He didn't rifle off wins, and everyone's like, oh my God, is Truex going to be done? Then he goes to that 78 team and you see like resurgence, and like he wasn't, all that young when he went and started winning, when he started winning. Oh, it can't win on short tracks. He goes and does it. I'm not worried. It's kind of, to be honest, it's kind of fun rooting and having an underdog driver. Because I look at the sport differently. It allows me a different perspective about it. And at the same time, I still have the 20 that I've always rooted for.
Yeah.
So even in this down year, I mean, if you're a listener to the show, I've kind of switched mentalities recently to a winning car, because it adds more, obviously, to the races and everything. So, I just think there's no better option for him right now. And, fingers crossed for the future. Toyota, let's go. Give him some fucking deets over there.
I like it. Whatchamacallit, this joke would have been better right after Matt made it, but 2 minutes late, it'll be all right. Rick Hendrick made a deal with the devil. Coach Gibbs made a deal with God, and then Richard Childress made a deal with the ghost of Dale Earnhardt to keep going. That's how those three are keeping it going. And then everyone else has an alliance with them.
What, was that supposed to be funny?
Yeah, it was. Sorry.
That was brutal watching you try to get that out.
You delivered it like it was a eulogy, bro.
Yeah, it was a bad one. Sorry, guys. You want to what? You ever have a joke play in your head better? Yeah, that was that joke.
Every day of my life. Every day of my life. Yeah. But you know what, dude? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Fire them away, man. Fire them away. You'll land them.
The problem was I waited too long, and then I couldn't remember what I thought about 2 minutes ago, where it's like, oh, wait, what was it? And I'm like, so then the timing and the whatnot gets messed up. Anyways,
5 random people just said to themselves, I'm never listening to these guys
show again. Yeah.
Shut off the podcast, and that's the end of their bump and run listening experience.
Yeah.
That's it.
That reminds me, Ray Scrub, where you at? I haven't seen a comment in a couple weeks. Did we lose you, bud? Just wondering if you're still with us. Whatchamacallit? What's that?
Like still with us, or
like still listening to the show? I don't know. Like you said, maybe we said something. I get hurt feelings when I don't see the comments that I'm used to normally seeing. Anyways, Charlie Warner, hope you got to stay for the Monday Michigan. Anyways, Austin Dillon will not compete in the playoffs. His win last week. The penalty came down, the hammer. They waited till Wednesday. That's how you knew it was serious. They docked the team 25 points, suspended his spotter for 3 races, and then his win in Richmond will not count towards the playoffs. Richard Childress Racing says that they are appealing. I believe that'll be heard tomorrow.
I think you're right.
Tomorrow or Thursday, I can't remember. And then Joey Logano was fined $50,000 for his pit road shenanigans. And I saw a couple other videos, and it looked worse than I originally thought last week when we were talking about it. It was a pretty egregious move. So I don't think he's appealing that one. And then, what do you guys think about that whole ordeal? It took a couple days to get a verdict.
Nailed it. We talked about it last week. You had to do something, because if not, we're gonna see Phoenix come down to Denny Hamlin wrecking the other 3 guys, or whoever it might be, wrecking the other 3 guys to win a championship. And then what the hell do you do? And you have we said it. We have younger fans watching that thinks that that's okay. Now maybe they don't, and hopefully that changes the trajectory of NASCAR. But you just Austin. We've heard about this imaginary line all week. Whatever that line is, there you can't sit there with a straight face and tell me that Austin Dillon didn't cross it. Well deserved. Take the win, take the money, whatever. but you're not entering the playoffs that way. That's just not, we're not going to make a mockery out of this thing more than we already have. So they nailed it. I thought the one, and same with Logano, you know, you got to be, it's on NASCAR to not be letting everyone on pit road like that when the pit road is hot like that. But also like Joey Logano, like he had just gotten into a wreck. I heard a good point. I think it was on DBC. He had just gotten into a wreck where, you think your car's under control, but if something snaps because, you know, you just smashed a wall down, now you don't have control. Something bad could have happened. It didn't. The guy's one of the top, 10, 15, 20 best drivers in the world. He had control over his car, but God forbid he didn't. So rightfully deserved. One thing that Joey did say, which blew my mind to just even think about. Somebody asked him, like, hey, how does that, like, fine, like, how does it work when you get fined? Like, what do you, like, physically, what do you do? He's like, NASCAR gives me their bank account information at PNC, and I just hit a button and transfer $50,000 over, and it's just like if I owed Eric $100 and, hey, give me your bank information, I'll transfer it over to you. And it's just like, could you imagine, like, I don't care how rich you are, like $50,000 just parting ways with it by the click of a button. It just like, it blew my mind how nonchalant that's how it just gone.
Yeah. Like I like you said, I don't care how much money you have in the bank, $50K to just like, oh yeah, this was for something dumb I did. You know, it's like when you get real ballsy betting on like sports or whatever, and you're like, yeah, usually I limit myself to this one's a sure thing, and then like it doesn't go through, like that pit of your stomach deal, you know, where it's like maybe I shouldn't have put that much money on the line, you know, like maybe I shouldn't have burned out on pit road in front of Austin Dillon's family.
You think about how much money, like even for these guys who are multimillionaires, tens of millions of dollars, I'm sure Joey has, you know, or he's worth, you know, think about how far $50,000 goes. You do renovations on a house.
Oh, yeah.
5 vacations for these guys. I'm sure they're taking vacations that are $10,000, you know, anything, $50,000, a new vehicle, like just gone for one stupid mistake.
I think his oldest kid is racing in like a go-kart, like that's tires and shit, like that's a go-kart, all sorts of stuff. So like, yeah, just for burning it down on pit road. Yeah, well deserved, I think. And you want to know what couldn't happen to a nicer guy though? That Joey Logano. And then what should we call it? AJ Allmendinger is going to be returning to the Cup Series full time next season. I'm assuming with Colleague Racing. I don't know what car, whether it be the 16 or the 31. I'm assuming the 16 because who's in the 16 right now? Is it like a rotating car with SVG and him? And
I think it was the rotating car. Yeah, I mean, it was always so mind blowing why like they wouldn't want, like AJ was always the best option for them in that car and Cup.
Yeah.
Like it seemed that way.
I don't know if Daniel Hemrick brought a shit ton of money or something like that with him. I know he has a couple sponsors with like different banks and stuff like that. So I don't know. The whole colleague organization to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now.
I agree, Whitey. It's very confusing to me. Like I feel like it's a team in NASCAR that's just operating in disguise for every other team in NASCAR right now.
Right?
Like, I feel like they're owned by multiple teams and they're just like, they're being told what to do, but they're just operating under colleague, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. I feel like they don't really have a direction or a pathway or anything. It's just like
Trackhouse is like, hey, you're gonna run SVG in the Xfinity Series. Like, all right, is the check gonna clear?
Yeah, sure.
Like, yeah, and then it's like, hey, but we also need to run him in the Cup Series a couple times. So like, yeah, that 16 AJ, you're going back to Xfinity. Oh, okay. Justin Haley, you're out. Daniel Hemrick, throw him. I don't know. Like,
I wonder if they're like investments intertwined some way.
Could be.
That where it's like they're on paper, they're not the same team. You know what I mean? Because of charters and this many cars and that or whatnot. Maybe it's like they're investors. If you go down the line away, this is how they're connected. Well, dude, I don't know, but it is weird. They are. It's a strange move.
When SVG ran that car for Colleague, they said it. They were like, yeah, that's a Trackhouse car.
It's a Trackhouse. Yeah. It was prepared in Trackhouse.
They said it. They were like, nah, that's a Trackhouse prepared car.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, wait, what? Like, how is that even like? What? Like, how is that?
Basically, just said Trackhouse is like basically. I mean,
it's like,
it's
hey,
racketeering. They're racketeering another team. Like they're like holding them hostage to run the 16 car for their best guy. And if you don't let us do it, they have some greasy shit on calling.
Pitbull has connections that you can't mess with. He has those Miami connections, those Cuban Miami connections that you don't want to mess with.
Listen,
I saw Scarface. I know how it works.
Not only that, they took a page out of the best. Team Penske. You think the Wood brothers are running anything for that 21 car? Absolutely not. So it's just all part of the game. I'm trying to figure out how to do that shit in my own personal life. How can I set up like a business that could sponsor this podcast that I can show a lot of losses on?
Wait. I know your luck, dude. You will get us all thrown in prison.
Yeah, why are you gonna go out and buy a troll farm and end up trolling us and like it backfires tremendously?
Yeah, Whitey's gonna get into business.
I wanted to buy us 200,000 followers, not 200,000 bots, fucking annoying the shit out of everybody.
I just want to figure out. The rich guys buy cars under corporations all the time, and I want to figure out how I could start a corporation. Anyways, it's maybe I'll cut that part out of the podcast. Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer have both announced they signed multi-year deals to compete for Haas Factory Team in the Xfinity Series. So big news for Haas Factory Team. A lot of speculation on who was going to drive it, whether it be Haley Deegan, someone else. It seems that Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer are both going over. And can I tell you, Sam Mayer bugs the shit out of me. Does he bother you guys at all?
I think Sheldon Creed bothers me the way Sam Mayer bothers you, because Sheldon Creed, every time I put on an Xfinity race, he is just like a bull in a china shop, and he's getting into an altercation with somebody during that race.
Yeah.
I don't get, it's not the same person every time, but a lot of the times Sheldon Creed is, the 18 car is upset with so-and-so. Oh, he's putting a bumper to him. Like, he's a very aggressive driver that finds himself getting into, a lot of on-track scuffles with drivers. I feel like that's why he rubs me the wrong way. It just seems like he's a little over the line most races I see.
Sam Mayer to me has a little Noah Gragson in him, and I like Noah. To answer your question, Sam Mayer doesn't bother me, but also he's been a junior motorsports driver, so I'm going to see it a little bit different way than maybe you are, Whitey, being a junior motorsports fan. Now, I mean, he's immature. Like, he's got some growing up to do, but, dude, he's like, what, 19, 20 years old?
That's what bothers
Sam
me.
Mayer. They're kids still, so there's some growing up there, but I think he has a little bit of, like, shenanigans in him, like a Noah Gragson does.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying about Sheldon Creed. He has 11 second place finishes. It might be more than that, but I just counted 11 quick. I think a lot of his is frustration, where he's just getting into people and stuff. The thing that bothers me about Sam Mayer is like what Matt said. He's young, he's immature, but he has this like weird arrogance for a guy that hasn't won a race until this year and like hasn't really done a whole lot in an Xfinity field with a whole lot of like really talented guys. You know what I mean? Where
he just turned 21.
And you know what really pissed me off? When all the silly season rumors were swirling around and everything, he made a comment where he was upset that no Cup team reached out to him yet. And all I could think is, why the fuck would they? You've won 3 races for Junior Motorsports, something like that this season. But like, right? How many?
You want to know why? It's because that's what happens.
Yeah.
That is how the sport is run now.
But
you have a couple years in Cup. If you don't make it, you're gone. You're done. Then the next hot guy, some Cup teams you go to take. It started with Eric Jones and Matt Kenseth.
Yeah.
You take a guy, even if he gets wins. EJ had 2 wins in those 3 years that he was in that 20 car. He made the playoffs two of the years, missed it by one fucking spot in that last year. Like, and then okay, you cut a guy, bring in the next hot hand, Christopher Bell, and then you hope that he does well. And guess what? If Christopher Bell doesn't do well, they're on to the next guy.
Yeah.
Because look at these other teams that do the same thing. You try this guy out, oh, he doesn't work out. Okay, it's a rotating door. So I don't blame him for not at least thinking he'd get a call.
Yeah, I mean,
nepotism, I think, prevents guys like Sam Mayer from having a ride. I think Sam Mayer deserves a ride over some other people that are in the sport, probably.
yeah.
But you're always going to have certain rides that are taken up because their daddy does this or they know a guy that does that. Like,
or their grandfather, owns.
Yeah,
their grandfather owns the team.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that's the thing, though. At least Ty Gibbs was rattling. He won his first Xfinity start. Like he rattled him off. Like Sam Mayer. Yeah, he had 4 wins last year. He was good in points, but like the competition in the Xfinity series wasn't really there. You know what I mean? Like
Sam Mayer is host of our of just a couple years ago, where
and maybe I just don't like his face, to be honest with you.
The races that Sam Mayer wins are always have like asterisks, or he did something
right? Something stupid happened
to win a race, or over like someone ran this guy. Like there was controversy around a lot of his racing. And that's what I feel about Sheldon Creed. And I think those two get into it on the racetrack a lot to begin with, those two, because they have that same aggressive mentality where I think it's almost a Kyle Busch when he came over to with Kenseth, and Kenseth's like, Kyle, like, you're good. Your car's good.
Yeah.
You're the problem sometimes getting it to the finish line.
You're getting in your own way.
You just calm down a little bit behind the wheel. Like, it'll come to you. When you try too hard, like Denny said it the other day, I forget, I think it was at Richmond. He's like, you could try to get up on the wheel and try to get to catch that guy in front of you and hurt your lap time because you're overdriving your car.
Yeah.
So Kyle Busch always did. He would overdrive his car, get into somebody, wreck somebody, you get enemies. So it's like, Ross Chastain, quit overdriving your car now that you're in good equipment. Corey LaJoie, you're getting decent equipment. You're still overdriving your car.
Yeah.
So it's like
Tyler Larson.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott was famous for his first handful of years. He would overdrive. Blaney's done.
Learn how to dial it back.
Go through it.
So to Matt's point, it is a young talent, a kind of an experience issue, and you're seeing it working out with Hocevar, how he's changed his persona, and he still does dumb shit. Everyone's going to do dumb shit on the racetrack, but it's how consistent you do it and the spans you have in between the dumb shit that I look at, and to me, it seems like it's something that can be corrected because it's being done right now.
I also saw a quote from Sam Mayer. I don't want to stick on this much longer, but I saw a quote from him where he's like, he wants to get a shot on a cup ride. And then he goes, I'm sure I'll get my teeth kicked in. And all I'm thinking is like, man, someone give him one day to run this season in cup and really get your shit kicked in and see, like, just pump the brakes on the arrogance. You know what I mean?
But this is not to get into the weeds here, but this is the reason why you let the cup drivers, I've always said it, go down there and race
and
with
beat
the guys.
Them up. Oh,
you know what I mean? Let them race against what they're going to be racing against, because cup guys down in those lower series only makes them lower series drivers better.
Yep. And then starting this week, NBC Sports has named Lee Diffie as the new play-by-play commentator for the Cup Series starting Saturday in Daytona. So we'll hear a new voice on the broadcast. What do you guys think about Lee Diffie coming? He broadcasts IndyCar. He did the Olympics this year. I think he's Australian, right?
He is. He's Australian. I will address this later in the show.
All right. Sounds good. And that's all I have for NASCAR news. You guys want to jump into the Cup weekend? Well, the NASCAR weekend. We only saw an Xfinity in a Cup race. No trucks on track. But this weekend, Justin Allgaier getting it done in the number 7 car. I saw a funny tweet from Dale Jr. where I forget exactly what the lines were, but it's like, 3 cars wrecked, but 1 won. So like I'm upset, but happy at the same time, feeling very conflicted. I didn't see much of the Xfinity race. Did you guys get a chance to check it out or no?
I didn't either. No, I don't know what I was doing, but yeah, no, I missed it.
Yeah, I worked all day. I did see I think 2 of the Junior Motorsports guys got into each other. If anyone watched the Xfinity race, comment in the YouTube chat or send us a tweet. I don't know. You guys know us in the Xfinity series. It's tough to watch all the series in a weekend. And then the Cup race.
Buddy, especially with college football starting up. I'll be honest with everyone. Like, I'm going to be the last person you're going to want to come to with any type of Xfinity series because I'm going to miss probably the rest of the year.
Plus, even before college football starts, you have your whole recruiting going on, and NCAA
Right.
takes up a lot of time too.
That's
so.
right.
And then on Cup, we saw a race on Sunday and Monday. Tyler Reddick led 3 times for 15 laps. We saw 7 cautions for 41 laps, 26 lead changes among 16 different drivers. The race lasted 3 hours, 2 minutes, and 12 seconds, spread over 2 days. And Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski rounding off the top 5. Fellas, let's get into the race grades, and we will start with one Statman, Matt.
Race grades, I gave it an A+. I loved that race so much. I just loved it. We saw passing, we saw battles all through the pack. Everything that you want in an A+ type of race, we saw. We saw lead changes, we saw crazy restarts. How about like on the restarts where you're watching them just drop down a level from the top to the bottom, just shift down a level, and it's just like making moves and guys getting big ass runs. I mean, you saw the run that Bubba Wallace got when Larson and Denny were battling for the lead.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was a cool move.
Actually, Bubba even came out and said, I thought we had a caution for a second because I was able to just fly right by them. But we saw a great ending to a race. I mean, we didn't, everything in my mind was clean about the end of the race. And I just thought it was everything you want in a race. I'm not me personally, not going to let the fact that it carried over into a Monday ruin my race grade. Does it suck? Sure it does. Like nobody wants to have to juggle that around and figure out how you're going to watch it. And, are you going to be able to watch it? Yada, yada, yada. But I loved it. I love Michigan. We were talking about it before we came on air. Last couple of years, last year we gave it an A+. The year before that, I gave it a B+, and the year before that, I gave it a B+. So, I mean, if you take all the averages, if I went back and took all the averages of all the grades of all the tracks that we've done since starting this podcast 4 years ago, I would probably venture to say that Michigan is probably a top 2 or 3 track as far as average grade goes. I mean, it's produced great racing with this new car. So I loved it. Excellent race. A+ all around for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought it was one of the best races of the year, winner aside. Really makes me miss Auto Club right now because that was the only other 2-miler we have on the circuit. And I agree, those restarts are absolutely wild. How about you, Eric? What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. Same. I gave this race an A+ as well. I think when, I have a weird thing and I could tell, like, if I didn't watch this race and I just got the rundown from Whitey and it said 26 lead changes among 16 drivers, put an A+ right next to it.
Yeah.
Anytime there's 25, 26, mid-20s with teen drivers, as far as when it comes to leads and lead changes amongst drivers, it's a guaranteed A. Almost every time I give a race an A, that is up there. So that indicates you had passing. And a lot of times, okay, you could have strategy that could cause a lot of comers and goers. This race, not only did the strategy have play when it comes to comers and goers, who's up front, who's in back, but the tire fall off. They brought a different set of tires. They brought new right side tires.
Yeah.
And, I think that had an effect where now there was a little bit of tire fall off. So you had good cars, you had bad cars, whether it be on, different tire strategy, different race strategy in general. You got to deal with Mother Nature. A green racetrack starting the next day, a different.
I think that played into it too.
The sun was out, so you had to deal with everything. You had pits, you had strategy, you had calls, you had fuel. It just, to me, was a complete. This is one of the most complete races I've ever seen in NASCAR, as far as giving everything. And the end, it was. We were texting back and forth about it. Busting it. Whitey was watching it at work, and I thought I would get him a little bit, nervous in case he wasn't watching at the time. at the end of the race, you go, oh no, 45, chocolate milk coming out, chocolate milk coming out of the 45. Oh no, I'm going.
He even got me because I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
So I didn't know if I'd get any of you guys. I ended up getting both of you. So no, great race, great ending. I always said it the last couple weeks, these great races where you want to see this strategy play out. You want to see it in real time. And yes, there was a caution at the end, but the right driver won. It didn't make a difference. And it's not at most race tracks, I feel like, of the size of me. Like you need a couple laps to get wound up there. So like if you can't make it on that initial restart, there's not enough time to get wound up at a place like that. So glad to see that the driver that, was going to win won the race anyway. But all around, man, if you complained about that race, what do you want in the sport? What are you looking for? I don't get it if you didn't like that race on Sunday and Monday. I don't.
I think Jeff Gluck's poll was around like an 80, 81, 82 last time when I voted.
Insane not to be in the 90s.
It's so stupid, man. Like I don't know if people are just pissed off that it carried over to Monday or what. Like there's not that many Reddick haters out there. Like Reddick's not one of those guys that's like
you want to know
dislike that much.
He gets the Toyota hate by default too, though. A lot of Toyota haters.
The McDonald's Golden Arches love should trump that. If you just like McDonald's, you should be fucking happy and sitting. Yeah, that was a good race.
Hell yeah! Again, those golden arches in victory lane for the second time in like 20 some years or whatever since Jimmy Spencer. Him and Bubba Wallace did it both on a Monday, by the way. Whatchamacallit too. I also give it an A. I agree with you guys. I like that Monday was a little bit different from Sunday. We saw a couple different comers and goers. And like you said, Eric, you look at the lead change count. I highlight on my notes guys that led double-digit laps versus guys who led single digits. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that led double-digit laps multi-times. So you know what that says to me? Battling for the lead, not just, it's a green flag pit cycle and these 4 guys are going to get 2 laps each. It's like, no, Tyler Reddick led 15 laps. William Byron led 20 laps. Kyle Busch led 24 laps. What a run out of Kyle Busch for the first time in a long time. Chase Elliott led 29 laps. Ryan Blaney led 15. Truex led 28. Kyle Larson led 41. And the interesting part, too, is like you saw guys that had really good cars on Sunday, like Bubba Wallace cutting through the field. Ross Chastain had a good car all weekend long, which is the first time we've seen that in a while. It was giving me a lot of hope going into the playoffs that we're going to see some really entertaining races once we start hitting these 1.5 miles again too. And like you said, the right car won. He was leading before that untimely caution. How many times have we seen like A races this season get screwed up by a late caution and then just chaos on the restarts? I felt
it's been a while. I don't think we've seen chaotic ending to a race in a long, long time. I think it's been,
like 2,
5, 10 races.
A couple of weeks.
Nothing happened at Richmond last week, and that jumps off the page to me for sure.
No, nothing.
It's been a while.
Nothing happened at the road course.
Nashville. I don't think anything happened at Nashville.
Yeah, nothing happened in Nashville. We had some pretty great racing. But no, I did feel bad for some of the guys that I thought, like Kyle Larson had the car all day long. Him and Denny battling on Sunday. Felt terrible for Denny. Felt terrible for Martin Truex Jr. too. I don't know if we'll get into any of those guys coming up. But but just in general, I thought it was a really, really great race that we saw. And like just that playoff battle going on right now with Chris Buescher and Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain. That was really interesting to see.
Ty Gibbs is working his way right into that conversation.
Oh yeah, so
in a bad way.
Yeah, kind of. He's lost a lot of points over the last couple of weeks. But again, I don't know. You heat up and you slow down. We'll see if Tyler Reddick could stay hot for the rest of the playoffs. I mean, really, like Eric says, there's only 2 races left in the season, though. So we'll see if he gets that championship at Darlington Yeah, definitely give it an A, man. Trying to think. Yeah, just sucks we couldn't get it all done in one day. But fellas, let's jump.
Start the race at 1 o'clock. Start the race at 1 o'clock. We don't have to worry about it. But anywho,
Yeah, I heard a lot of people complaining about that. I almost gave the start time my records, but it's not even worth it anymore either.
not worth it. What are we gonna do?
TV dictates it all. If you want to hear people bitch about the start time, go listen to the Teardown with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi, because Jeff Gluck was really mad about it this week. And they do a great podcast in general. So give that a listen right after you finish the Bumper Run podcast. But fellas, let's jump into the checkers and wreckers.
20 wide for the lead. 1 lap to go.
It's this week's Checkers and Wreckers.
All right, and since we started with Statman Matt, usually we'll start with Daytona Ron, but I want to give my checkers and wreckers just because it goes right in with the race grade there. Got to give it to Tyler Reddick, my driver, not only for the performance on Monday, but just how he's been running the last 11 races or so. So in the last 11 races, he's had 10 top 10s, 7 of which were top 5s. The win was coming, and it was well deserved on Monday. And we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but just not overdriving your car, stuff like that. I was listening to an interview with Denny Hamlin, or maybe it was Todd. I forget who exactly it was, but they said their whole shift changed. Like, they're racing for points now, where it's like, yes, let's leave the day with a 3rd place finish instead of trying to overdrive the car and finishing, 30th because they wrecked out. And I'm really liking what we're going into with the last 2 races of the championship here. Darlington decides it all. Who's going to be the champion? And then we get to restart, and we have the playoffs, and we'll see how that all goes. And then I have to give my wreckers to a guy who we mentioned in that same conversation, where just kind of overdrives the car sometimes. And it's Kyle Larson. He pushes so hard where he just ends up fucking himself over, where right now he's sitting 4th in points in the regular season standing. He's sitting 1st in playoffs because he has a shit ton of stage wins. He's got 4 wins on the season, having a great season in and of himself. But now he's out of the. Now he's risking that regular season championship, that extra 15 points going into the playoffs, because he just overdrives every now and then, And Eric, you mentioned it in our text message, and I like what you said, where you'd rather have your driver constantly trying to find the line than never searching enough, which I agree. It just seems like it's feast or famine with Kyle Larson. Either he's running top 5 and winning races, or he's wrecking out midway through, and
it's been like that. I mean, he's honestly, like, I brought it up earlier in the year, or it might have even been last year, where I'm like, he's winner DNF.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of where he's at. And you know what? That's honest to God why he has so many fans, because he's out there to win every single fucking race. He doesn't give a shit about coming home in 11th and getting a points day. He really doesn't.
No.
And honestly, you have to have that mentality as a NASCAR driver and a championship driver. You have to have that mentality of, I'm going out here to win, and I'm going to do whatever I can to win this fucking race. That's how you get fans. That's how you become a legend of the sport. And, there's times when, trying to win that race and pushing that limit, you're going to DNF. So, it's something that I think it's part of his style. And, I think a lot of people are misusing that word, like style. Nobody's allowed to have a style anymore, because it's either you're just dirty or you're too aggressive, or it's like, but Larson's style is, honest to God, go balls to the walls as much as I can to win every single race. And if I don't, I'm going to come out next week and probably have another good shot at winning. I mean, not many people can have that kind of outlook or attitude. He's one of them that can. And to your checkers, Whitey, I was just happy to see Reddick finish a race. I was trying to put it out in the universe in the group chat to kind of like do the reverse jinx.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to blow it again? Here it is. Cause like normally when you say something, it fucking goes down. And I'm like, all this time, does he get it done? The end of that race, now that I think about it, this is why I want people in the sport of NASCAR. I have my buddy's driver fighting at the end. We're in a group message. We're doing this. I know the podcast that added to the end of that race so much.
Oh yeah.
Knowing that there's a little more than just that 45 cars about to win. You know what I mean? It's like that's what makes NASCAR special to me is the friendships. It's that little bantering and bickering back and forth. It's fun. That's to me, I think I'm happy we kind of brought that back a little bit. You know what I mean? As far as like, hey, let's really like get into this,
Fun little rivalries here and there,
Yeah,
like,
and it's
ball
it's
busting.
just it was refreshing to see him finally come home and not overdrive at the end and kind of just stay calm and relaxed and finish one off.
Oh yeah, I agree. So let's jump into it with you then. What's your checkers and wreckers?
So my checkers is Kyle fucking Busch, dude. I gotta give it to Kyle Busch. We've been ragging on him. We've been shitting on him. But RCR, I'll tell you what, I know Austin Dillon, everything that happened to him, still had a car to win that race without all that. And we talked about that. And he should have won that race without any controversy. And he would have that playoff spot. So they found something over there at RCR. I don't know what it is.
The Olympic break was good to them.
Is it a little too late? I'm not sure it is.
I'll tell you what it is. It's fucking colleague racing operates off that campus, and they're getting information from Trackhouse. They're getting information.
They're part of the greasy ring.
And they're just sending it right over to RCR, and it's finally catching up.
Oh yeah,
colleague racing, like they're like a sleeper cell in NASCAR. We've established that tonight.
Yeah, we finally figured out. We cracked the colleague code.
Yeah.
But even Austin Dillon still ran half decent the last couple weeks as far as speed in his car.
He
and
was
it's
running
like,
really
the
well.
finishes aren't there, but the speed, even certain weeks, I know he's 31st, make fun of him. He has shown speed in qualifying and in beginning of certain races and just falls off at the end. So RCR, Kyle Busch, I was watching that race. Another thing that added to it and made it another A race to me, and why like I'm bringing this in as my checkers to tie it all into how good this race was as far as excitement, as far as energy, as far as me being on the edge of my seat, ready to solidify the end of this NASCAR season. And it was, could Kyle Busch get the streak? Could he get that 20th win in a row? And at one point of that race, there's 27 laps to go. He was leading. And it's another storyline we've talked about on here that's playing out. Could Kyle Busch get it? Oh, my God, I think he's going to get it. I find myself room for him. And then I'm like, oh, man, here comes Reddick, though. He's going to get him. He's coming in hot. And that's what happens when organic strategy and stuff plays out in a race. You get those kind of battles. You get those kind of passes for the lead and what ifs. And it just everything about this. And Kyle Busch added to this race this week. It's so much more fun. And I think everyone will agree with this when Kyle Busch is running up front.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It changed the race for me. Kyle Busch running up front and being up front. We need Kyle Busch running up front in fast cars.
Yeah.
So that's why I give him my checkers, because he added to the race. I realized how much we need Kyle Busch racing up front.
How much were we loving on Kyle Busch last season in the beginning of the season when everything was up and up and he was running great? You know,
it was awesome.
It was
awesome
because now he's on the Kyle Busch redemption tour where he's like, all right, I'm in a Chevy, so you guys can stop hating me because I'm in a Toyota. I'm a little more mature. I'm a little less brazen, but I'm still Kyle Busch. You know, I want to go out and dominate some shit.
And come the end of the show, I said, is it a little too late for RCR? I don't think so. I think this week it might be his best chance.
It could be. I mean, he was close to winning the Daytona 500 last year.
He has the best driver rating at super speedways. I'm almost certain of it.
And RCR always brings a fast super speedway car.
Kyle
Busch.
At super speedways?
This year.
Oh, this year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, he finished second or third in Atlanta.
I've got a stat for when we pick races that never mind.
All right. How about
my wreckers goes to MTJ. You know, I've talked about it in the last 2 weeks as far as his Toyota. Is this the slump? Are we going to see it again, ending the season on a bad note? This has been Christopher Bell's worst DNF year in the last 4 years due to failures, engines, just this luck that kind of hovers over Toyota at the end of the year. And, you know, it's kind of like why I made that chocolate milk funny thing in the text. It's like, there's a high possibility that he did have something happen to him at the end of that race. But MTJ, again, having a good race that ends with something shitty. He hits the wall, causes that caution at the end, and it just seems like the speed and that dark black cloud just hovers over Truex more often than it doesn't. And, you know, 5 of the last 6 races, 24th or worse. So another end of the year just slump for Martin Truex Jr. And, you know, I think at this point, if he doesn't shake this, his chances of not only a championship in his final season is out the window, but maybe even just a win is out the window for him at this point.
Which would be unfortunate because, like, how great of a send-off would it be for Martin Truex Jr. to get a win, you know?
I mean, obviously the resident MTJ fan here, I'm here to pump the brakes because just hear me out. Silver lining, right? We always try to find the silver lining in things. Much like Whitey is concerned, hey, is Tyler peaking too soon?
Yeah.
For me as a Martin fan, get it all out of the way now, brother.
Shake it off.
I know we've got 2 races left and just about anything could happen, but like he should all but make it in on points, right? So he should be okay as far as that goes. I mean, he's got to get out of Daytona clean. He's got to run a Darlington race that we've seen him run before, and he'll be in. And once he's in, anything can happen. He's getting all the bad luck out of the way now. He's not racking up win after win after win and then disappearing in the playoffs. He's getting that all done now. So by the time the playoffs roll around, he's ready to rock and roll. That's my silver lining, and I'm hoping that's what happens.
Is how far is he in the cutoff line? I haven't looked in
77. I believe is where he's at right now.
So he should be pretty comfortable going into Daytona and Darlington.
He is plus 77. So realistically,
he just has to finish Daytona.
Yeah.
If he finishes at Daytona, he'll be fine.
He'll be all right.
Well, if he finishes at Daytona, I don't know what the math is, but if he finishes at Daytona and we don't get a new winner, he locks himself in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will lock himself in because then we'll only have 1 race left and he won't be the bottom of the points.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
So essentially if there's not a new winner at Daytona and he just finishes, if my math is correct, he should lock himself in. Yeah. I mean, he's going to have to get some stage points.
Those other 2 guys are way below him and would be battling, scrapping for that last spot. Yeah.
It's hard to do the math because stage points and stuff. Stage
points and stuff.
In real time, we're not gonna be able to do the math in real time without having a shitty 10 minutes of a podcast.
Yeah, he should at least have, as long as there's no new winner, or even if there is a new winner and he wrecks out at Daytona, he should still be able to lock himself into Darlington mathematically as long as he finishes. I think that'll give him like 40 points or maybe even only like 20 points to the good. But
something catastrophic would have to happen for him to not make the playoffs at this point.
Anyways, what's your what?
I'm done. My records was MTJ.
I wasn't sure if Matt started his checkers or wreckers yet.
Nope. So my checkers goes to Spire Motorsports. Talked about him a little bit. So this is a stat via Jeff Gluck. He tweeted this, and I'll just kind of read it verbatim. Spire Motorsports had a double top 10 finish today with Zane Smith, who finished P7, and Carson Hocevar, who finished P10. Second best finish of Smith's career and third career top 10. Hocevar now has 4 top 10s this season, all on downforce tracks, and has back-to-back top 10s for the first time. So, and that was via Jeff Gluck. Wanted to give him the credit for those stats there. So just good to see the man like Hocevar. Eric, you asked the question in the middle of the race there. It was kind of strategy that they were running up front. I think they were running second for a while there, just kind of trying to hope a caution came out. But either way, is Hocevar going to be a problem coming up? And I think the answer is yeah, man. I think he's got all the talent in the world, and look what he's doing with Spire. And I like what I see out of that car, out of that team. And it's going to be super interesting once Michael McDowell jumps on board too.
You know what I was thinking about earlier today? I was thinking about in the beginning of the season when Dale Jr. said like, oh, Corey LaJoie is going to win the race and get into the playoffs and all this stuff. And we were all like, what the fuck? Like Dale Jr. has to know something that we don't. We know Steve Letart's a consultant for Spire Motorsports. We're assuming that Dale Jr. is somehow involved because he's always talking up LaJoie. He's always talking to those guys and stuff. And I think Dale Jr. was right. He did know something that was going on at Spire Motorsports. Unfortunately, Corey LaJoie is just not the driver to capitalize on the magic that's been happening in the garage and in the shop for Spire Motorsports. Thankfully, they have a rookie, 2 rookies in Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar to show what this equipment can do. Like Matt said, all of Hocevar's top 10 finishes have been at non-super speedway racetracks. All of Corey LaJoie's top 10s have been at super speedway races. So just a little food for thought on that one. I completely agree. Big props to Spire Motorsports this season.
Yeah, and Hocevar, I saw a stat. I think it was that Ryan at iFantasy race.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 races, Hocevar has the 6th best average finish.
That's
since
crazy.
June. Since June, he has the 6th best average finish.
That is really impressive. That is just consistency, you know? Did you see what it was? Is it like 13 point whatever or something like that? I'm just curious to see like if he's running better than we realized too, you know?
I think it was up there. It was like
top 15, top 20. So yeah. Man, fucking see you later, LaJoie. Anyways, Matt, what's your records for the weekend?
My records just goes to the fact, if you've listened to this podcast in the past, you know that we all have a soft spot in our hearts for Rick Allen, and just the fact that this was his last Cup race of the season for NBC. He's going to be moved down to the Xfinity series for the rest of this. Well, he's always done the Xfinity series, but he's just going to be exclusively the Xfinity series for the rest of the year while Lee Diffie moves into the Cup series. It's just it stinks because, I mean, I think Rick Allen's, for whatever reason, he's polarizing, at least on Twitter. Whenever, if you search Rick Allen, like you get a lot of people that love him and a lot of people that don't like him. And I don't know why. I think he brings a lot of energy. He brings a lot of authenticism. Like he's super close with all those NBC guys, including Dale, who's no longer with NBC. And so like, he's a racing fan. And like, whenever you see him, what's going on?
I'm sorry. Is that Gus, the cat behind Eric? The way he popped up, he like emerged over Eric's shoulder and just cracked me up. I'm sorry about that.
Great.
Yeah,
that's funny. But anyway, Rick Allen, like you saw him help out at North Wilkesboro. Like whenever you see him like doing these projects and stuff, like he's always wearing blue jeans and he's just like a blue collar guy. I think he's like a carpenter or something. He's just like a normal dude with a great voice, and it's sad to see him not do the Cup Series. Now during the Olympics, while Lee Diffie was calling all the track events and everything, it got me really excited because he is an electrifying type of guy who's going to be calling the races for Cup. So this isn't to knock on Lee Diffie at all. I have a certain soft spot in my heart for Rick Allen. And I think, the theory that Whitey and I have is that we think that he's going to go wherever Dale Jr. lands next year. Well, which is obviously Dale Jr. is going with Amazon. And they haven't announced any type of, rest of the lineup with him. So there's a chance that, NBC already knows that. And they're saying, well, hey, listen, if that's going to be the case, you're not going to be with us next year. Let's get Lee in the booth now to finish up the year. You can finish up Xfinity, finish out your contract, and good luck in the future type deal. That's just hearsay. That's just speculation from the Bump and Run podcast. But
yeah,
it would make sense.
I wish we had more information on the whole deal because it came as kind of a shock. It was like a mid-season news type deal. And it was around the time that Dale Jr. was announcing he was going to Amazon and Turner.
It was like right around the same time.
And but at the same time, too, you have to think, so the Xfinity series is leaving NBC and Fox altogether and going to CW independently for next season. And in fact, the last 8 races of the Xfinity Series will be broadcast on CW. They're moving from NBC too. So I don't know if there was some animosity there with television contracts and stuff like that. Or, and another theory I just thought of, maybe Rick Allen is going to be purely Xfinity Series on CW, and I would love the voice of Rick Allen to really showcase some of these younger guys and what the Xfinity Series says they do, make names for these guys. So I do agree. It's a loss for the broadcast. I am excited about Lee Diffie because he does bring a different type of energy, and I don't understand the hate that Rick Allen gets. But if you look up any broadcaster, they all get hate from a weird portion of Twitter. It all depends on who hates who. You know what I mean? Like, I used to hate Jeff Gordon. And now we all hate Clint Boyer, that type of deal. So I think it's one of those. But I think Rick Allen does an excellent job. I am excited to hear Lee Diffie call the Daytona night race this weekend. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So
I have one complaint about it. I don't mind Lee. Love Rick Allen. Great that he's sticking with Xfinity because I think that's good for that sport. I think his voice is going to bring fans there. Knowing that Rick is there, I think that's going to bring people over. I think it's that much of a hold.
100%.
Yeah.
People say that like a lot. You hear it a lot in football. Like, oh, it doesn't matter who the commenter booth. People's going to watch. People are going to watch the game. People are going to watch the race. No, like Tom Brady is starting with Fox for the NFL this year. Like, I'm going to be tuning into more Fox games just to hear how he does his deal. You know, and same with Rick Allen. Like, that will make me want to tune into an Xfinity race where if I'm busy or something, I might have other things going on where, hey, Rick Allen's calling that. I'm going to want to tune in and see what he has to say and how he says it.
And listen, I'll call a spade a spade. I don't like Jamie, what's her name, calling the truck
Jamie
series.
Little. Yeah.
Jamie Little, like, great pit reporter, but like nothing against her. It just, some people could do it. Some people can't. And I won't watch a truck race sometimes because I can't listen. It takes me out of the race.
She's not a good play-by-play.
What I think Eric's saying too, just to clarify, like, it's not a woman thing. It's just that she doesn't have the energy it takes to be the voice of the series. I agree with you.
I forget what race it was, but it was like an amazing finish, and she's just like, "Look at that," you know. But also, like, that whole entire Fox team is in the studio in Charlotte too, which doesn't help anything at all, you know. But again, the energy just isn't there. I remember when she first started doing ARCA, we liked it because she's like, oh, this is like a nice, like, calming energy. But then at the same time, it's like, but it's not an exciting energy. It's not like, oh, I'm excited for this race.
And
you know,
calming energy when you're watching motorsports.
No,
dude.
not at all. And like you said, she's an excellent pit road reporter too. She's phenomenal at her job.
Point.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's not. She's good at what she does reporting. She's very fluid. She speaks well, but in that, it's not what I need. And like, Lee's going to give me that. But what I'm worried about is I'm not a fan of Burton.
I'm not a big Burton fan either.
I care less for him. I don't know how those two are going to mesh together. Yeah. I don't see them being good together.
But you want to
I just think I think Rick Allen commanded that booth and kind of like, I don't know. He knew when to talk and when to say. I know Lee's gonna know too, but like, I think I don't know. I'm curious to see how Burton's going to interact with Lee rather than the other way around.
I wonder if Steve Letarte will become like the middleman in between.
Oh, dude, Steve Letarte. You could put half-inch threaded rod next to Steve Letarte in a booth, and he's gonna still rock it out.
But to me, Lee's gonna go a little crazy, and I feel like Burton's more reserved, old school, and it's like.
They're not going to mesh.
I don't know how they're going to see eye to eye when they're in that booth together. That's just what I'm thinking. Get rid of Burton, to be honest with you. Like, we wanted Fox booth to get torn apart and reassembled, and our fucking famed NBC booth gets ripped apart and fucking. It's like we're getting its karma.
Right.
From talking all that shit on fucking Fox all these years.
The NBC booth, nothing will beat the NBC booth that we had in previous years leading up to this. Just the four of them in there together. It was just great chemistry, and we lost it.
Because they were like truly friends that hung out. They went on vacations together and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes on Saturday night. But before we do, Got to go over last place here on the bumper rump. There's nothing really else to talk about this race, right? Like, we kind of touched on everything besides
Corey LaJoie
flipping on his hood or his lid. I mean, I don't even know. That was Corey LaJoie flipped.
Corey LaJoie. You know what? That son of a bitch. You know, he can't do anything right besides flip over his race car. And it's entertainment. It's NASCAR. You want to entertain us? Oh, well, it's entertainment sport. Who gives a fuck about winning? Well, you know what? I was entertained by that. You give me a Corey LaJoie in the 7 flip over every fucking week, I'll tune in. That's the only thing he could do well. Oh, here you go, Corey. You can't do anything but flip your car. I think he's the only one to, like, on a non-super speedway to ever be able to roll your fucking car like that. Denny Hamlin's in-car radio even said it. Corey LaJoie is out of control.
He's out of control.
Corey LaJoie is out of control.
Always.
Like, entertainment, yes, get eyes on your sponsor, but Corey, flipping your car at 205 down the backstretch, what are you doing?
He's a fucking menace, man. He's a menace.
He's a problem.
That's the second time he's flipped the car this season.
Yeah.
And the best was his interview afterward. You could tell after what came out of his mouth, he's like, I shouldn't have said that. He's like, basically, I'm having the worst season ever. I learned how to, like, I'm the only one that flipped my car multiple times. Like, I can't do anything right. And I think that's what he said, because I just can't do anything right. And we're like, no shit. We've been saying this for years, buddy.
I saw breaking news that Corey LaJoie is going to be signing with McDonald's next season. He's going to be a great drive-through clerk. Anyways.
Yeah, he's going to be in that friggin' that big purple thing costume for Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace next year, running around pit road.
He's going to be wandering around pit road dressed as Grimace and the Hamburglar. Could you imagine? Anyways, here on the Bumper Run Podcast, everyone loves to talk about the winner, one Tyler Reddick, but we also like to talk about the guy who came in last place. That was one Todd Gilliland. Unfortunately, he was involved in that Kyle Larson caution, and he was just bouncing all around in that pickle car. Great paint scheme, though. Love the pickle car. Love Grillo's pickles. I don't know if you guys ever had them. I remember Joe Rogan used to talk about them all the time. I pick them up at Wegmans, so if you have a Wegmans local to you, you can pick up Grillo pickles. I suggest getting the spicy ones. But unfortunately, Todd Gilliland, his day ended on lap 114.
I do have one more thing that I wanted to talk about that I thought was unfortunate at the end of that race.
What's that?
Brad Keselowski, who I picked to win.
Oh, yeah.
His engine was misfiring. I thought he missed a shift or something. And I'll tell you what, he caught, like, I think there could have been a more of a battle and a run amongst other cars at the end of that race, if not for his engine skipping out on that last restart.
That was the type of race that Brad Keselowski would win too.
Yeah,
you know, like sneak one out right at the end there.
He was pushing heavy and he was going to go for something, and then you saw it, boom, and that stacked everybody up.
He wants that Michigan win more than anything, too. He said it would probably mean more than the Daytona 500 to win for him in Michigan. He's a Michigan-born guy, races for Ford, wants to bring that heritage title back to Detroit. And, man, just unfortunate for him. There was a lot of great little things that happened throughout that whole entire race. Whatchamacallit? Oh, boy. That was Eric. He was leaning forward on that. That had to be the chair. That had to be the chair that made that noise, right? Yeah. That couldn't have been. I
need a little WD-40 over here.
If it wasn't the chair, you got to spray for barking spiders, man. I think there's an infestation. Anyways, we are heading to Daytona and Milwaukee. This is an interesting weekend schedule. Friday night, Xfinity on track in Daytona, 7:30 on USA for the Wawa 250 powered by Coca-Cola. Saturday night, Cup on track, 7:30 on NBC for the Coke Zero Sugar 400. And then Sunday night, we have a truck race, 4 p.m. on FS1 for the LiUNA 175. So go support your local unions out there in Milwaukee. Fellas, to go over our picks from last week. Eric, you picked Brad Keselowski. He got you 41 points. You won the weekend. Matt, you picked Chris Buescher. He got you 37 points. You came in second. And I picked Ryan Blaney. He got me 30 points. I came in third, which means I picked third for Daytona. And we were just talking about RFK, Brad Keselowski, heading into Daytona. I got the Brad Keselowski hat back
fall
here.
off that chair, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die.
I got the Brad Keselowski hat, right? He could have won at Michigan. He wanted to win at Michigan. I'm putting it on, not for Brad, though, but for RFK in general. I think Chris Buescher wins his way into the playoffs. He is always a threat at Daytona in the summer. He won this race last year, right? Or did Brad Keselowski win last? No, he won this race last year. And I think he does it. I think he locks himself into the playoffs this weekend. I'm going with Chris Buescher in the 17. Fastenal Ford. How about you, Matt? Who are you going with?
I am
stats.
Told you guys I had a stat for you. Average finish. Now think about this for a second. I'm going with the guy who has an average finish of 9.9 with the next gen car at Daytona. So that's 7 races, average finish of 9.9. Think about all the calamity and all the things that are out of your control. To over 7 races have a single digit as your average finish. I got to roll with them. He's another guy. He's another guy who is fighting for his playoff life. I am going with Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace. That 7 races and he has a 9.9.
9.9.
I know he does well in the 500. I know he does well in the 500. I thought his summer races would have brought him down. I guess not. I like it. I like it a lot.
He also has accrued the most points over those 7 races too. Now, with that being said, he's probably going to wreck out, get caught up in something on lap 8. But yeah, I like they've been running really well. They've got the speed. He's already proven himself on super speedway races. He's got super speedway race wins. He's got a good spotter and Freddie Kraft up there. Obviously 2311 has all the speed that you can ask for. Bubba Wallace is going to get a bet put on him this weekend for me. I think too. I'm backing my mouth up with some money this weekend.
I like it. How about you, Eric? Who are you going with?
I said it, hinted earlier in the show. Who I think has a really, really good shot at winning this race and who still is fighting for a playoff spot and that 20th in a row. I'm going with Kyle Busch and that A car. That the RCR has been hot. They found something. He's been fast. I think this race past weekend gave him a little bit of confidence. And they're going to bring a rocket ship there to this super speedway where Kyle Busch has been one of the best all year. And there's never been a repeat winner in the next gen at a super speedway. So going to go a little opposite there. Stick with that trend and go Kyle Busch.
I like it. We will see how it goes. We're 24 races into the 2024 season. Just 2 more to go before we decide our champion for the year. William Byron, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, and Austin Dillon won't run for the championship. I didn't edit that since last week. He was still in the playoffs last week. And Alex Bowman are all locked into the playoffs. We will find out if Chris Buescher could lock himself in, become the first repeat winner at a super speedway in the next gen era. We will find out if Bubba Wallace can get himself locked in, running the best average finish at Daytona over the last 7 races, or we will find out if how the fuck.
Boy, you're having a banner episode, buddy.
It's a Tuesday. Where's the train? Can't even find the train. Off the rails already. Will Kyle Busch win his way into the playoffs, shake that monkey off his back, and get his 20th year straight as a winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. We'll find out this Saturday night, 7:30 on NBC for the Coke Zero Sugar 400, and we'll break it all down for you next Tuesday night right here on the Bump and Run podcast. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night. For Bump and Run,
There it is.